Everyone, I am Michael Hanna, and if you live in Irvington, you might know me because I was a former school board president, but now I'm one of the co-chairs of the Irvington Village Housing Committee, along with Deborah Flock. In the back here is the other co-chair, and we have other committee members, including Janice Silverberg, who's here, and I don't know if we have anybody else on the Zoom, but our other members include Chet Kerr, Dylan Douglas, Kay O'Keefe, Sue Robertson, and Carmen Saliani. Janice is a former village board trustee as well. Neither Mayor Burgos or other trustees, including our liaison, were able to make it. We kind of put this together quickly, and they are at other meetings, but they asked that we share that the Board of Trustees actively supports this effort and future development of affordable housing in Irvington. To that end, our committee's mission is to further the advancement of local and regional needs for housing available to moderate income individuals and families, including seniors and people with disabilities, in order to make Irvington a more diverse and vibrant community. We engage the community in ways that encourage meaningful support for affordable housing, review land use policies and legislation to encourage development of affordable housing. We work with policy leaders to ensure that present and future policies further these goals, and we assist in the identification of development of potential sites for affordable housing, but also preserve the character of the village. Just a few things that we've been thinking about in our committee recently is just assessing that due to, which may be very apparent to many of you, due to limited housing stock for sale, fewer rentals, and the high cost of housing, younger adults under 44, early career professionals such as teachers, retail workers, civil service employees, and also fixed income seniors can find it nearly impossible to find housing in Irvington. And some longtime residents have told us that we couldn't afford to move here now. As the age and economic diversity of the community shrinks, we lose key contributors, including volunteers for services like our fire department and ambulance corps. A few factoids. Since 2004, there's been a 14% decrease in our school district enrollment. From 2000 to 2017, the population of 30 to 44-year-olds dropped by 38%. Since November 2023, median sales prices for single-family homes have increased by 51.9%. Since 2020, the overall population of our village has decreased by 2.3%, a continuing trend. And no new housing was built in Irvington between 2010 and 2019. The affordable housing at Marker Ridge represents the first new affordable housing in over 2 decades. But when it comes to the deep work of making the wheels of affordable housing apparatus run, the Housing Action Council, a regional not-for-profit organization based in neighboring Terrytown, is dedicated to expanding housing opportunities for low and moderate income households throughout Westchester, Rockland, Putnam, and the Hudson region. The Housing Action Council is a partner of the Village Housing Committee, and I'm happy to introduce its executive director, Chance Mullins, who will lead our meeting. Chance previously worked at the Ford Foundation and is also the mayor of Pelham. So thank you, Chance.
Great, thank you so much. And it is nice to be here with you all. As he shared, my name is Chance Mullen. I'm the executive director of the Housing Action Council. The Housing Action Council has been around for about 50 years. So we know affordable housing. We partner with developers, we assist municipalities, and we connect working people to the opportunities that are out there. And that means both helping to get the word out when there are opportunities, advocating for more opportunities, and also supporting people through what can tend to be a fairly daunting process, whether you're renting or buying affordable housing. And so if you're applying for this opportunity, there is a good chance that we'll get to know each other very well. So I'm excited to be here tonight and kind of walk you through this. We're going to be talking about these 6 fair and affordable townhomes that we refer to as Marker Ridge, which is a larger project that includes a set aside that are affordable to folks at 80% of the area median income or lower. We'll get into what that means in a little bit. Just a few quick highlights, and then I'm going to introduce you to the developer. So the deadline for applications is January 31st, 2026, just coming up in a little over a week. Here's the good news about the initial application. It takes about 5 minutes. It's very simple to put in the application. The hard part comes, well, we'll make it easy, but the more complicated part comes afterwards if your name comes up in the lottery, and then we're gathering documents and going through that whole process. The other good news to share about that deadline, as long as you get your application in by the deadline, it doesn't matter if you submitted it a month ago or if you submit it 2 minutes before the end of that application period. Once the lottery is held on February 9th, the order of the applications becomes randomized. That's what a lottery is. So it randomizes the order of the applications, and then we start going one by one to see who falls both below the income levels, and then we try to make sure that folks can also afford the opportunity that they're applying for. So in this case, there are three bedroom, 2 bath townhomes that are selling for $253,969. There's no negotiation here. That is the price. And then there are 3 2-bedroom, 1 baths selling for $221,800. It should be said those prices are affordable to a family at 70% of the area median income. But these opportunities are open to people who make up to 80%. So the reason the projects typically get structured that way, there's an affordability window of a good number of people who should be able to afford this opportunity. So with that, why don't I turn it over to my friend and colleague, Courtney Hurley from Toll Brothers. Before I do, actually, let me say this. It is very hard to build affordable housing. It is incredibly difficult to do it because oftentimes you're building something and selling it at a price that is less than what it costs to build it in the first place. So when you have a developer, what you really need is a developer who's willing to do it, and you need a municipal board, a housing committee who will advocate for doing it, and then you need a community who will support it. So kudos to everybody who's been involved in this. And let me turn it now over to Courtney.
Hi, everybody. As Chance mentioned, I'm Courtney Hurley, representing Toll Brothers. So I am a project manager for our community planning department. So, our group kind of gets involved in planning the communities, all the logistics, a lot of the architecture, offering plans with the Attorney General, getting everything approved. And yeah, we're really excited to bring you guys these 6 affordable units at Marker Ridge. So kind of starting off here, just to kind of familiarize you with the site plan. For those who don't know, we opened for sale, Toll Brothers opened for sale at Marker Ridge, April of 2025. This is a community that consists of 27 homes. 20 of them are market rate, 6 of them are the affordables that we're going to be talking about today, and there is also one single family home that's a little bit off-site that comprises our community and our HOA. This is an HOA community. We're located off of South Broadway in Irvington. Kind of where this red box is here are going to be our 6 affordable units. The numbers of homes and the colors, that just kind of represents, we've been open since April of 2025. We only have 4 homes left to sell. So those represented in purple, those are our homes still left to sell. But other than that, we are almost closed out. We're hoping to be closed out of this community. We're hoping to be sold out of the community by hopefully spring of this year, and then closed out with all of the homes constructed and all of our happy homeowners moved in by the end of 2026. So that's the target completion. We are anticipating having these 6 affordable units move-in ready by the end of February. So right now, they're kind of in the phase of all of the finishes and all the punch work getting wrapped up so we can have these homes move in ready by the end of February. The HOA fees here for the affordable units are going to be $430 a month. So that's going to include all of the exterior maintenance of the home, snow removal of your driveways, and the roadways in the community. The landscaping gets taken care of for you. And then while we don't have any, clubhouse amenities, we do have kind of what we consider sort of a private gated access to the walking trail. So there's the Old Croton Aqueduct State Historic Trailway that kind of backs up to our community. And there's actually you can kind of see it sort of connects. We're going to have a gate there that's going to have a keypad, and our homeowners will have a little key fob, so that way they can kind of have private access to and from that trailway. I put private in quotes only because this is not a gated community. So, while no one can kind of come into the community from that trailway, people can kind of come into the community from the entrance. But it is really nice to kind of have that trailway there. You can, our homeowners can enjoy kind of walking down to, Main Street in Irvington, the restaurants and shops and things like that. So we kind of consider that an amenity. So our architecture, I apologize, we only have, the black and white renderings here, but in the earlier slide, it kind of showed color of sort of the aesthetic of the community. That's essentially what our affordable units are going to look like as well. It's going to be very cohesive. You're really not going to see a difference between the architecture of the market rate units and the affordable units here. So this is kind of showing of the 6 units we have. They're considered 1/1 units. So there's an upper floor unit and there's a lower floor unit, which comprises the 6. So lots 19 and 20, for example, that's 1/1, which is next to lot 18, which is a market rate unit. So that would be one building. The other building is full affordable units. So all 4 affordable units for that whole building. So yeah, and I can kind of get into the more of the specifics when we get to the floor plans, but really beautiful architecture here, very consistent with kind of the aesthetic of Irvington. We have 2 floor plans here, as Chance had mentioned. So there's a Thornwood, which is going to be our first floor units. That's the smaller unit. It's 1,072 square feet, 2 bedroom, 1 bathroom. You're going to have a patio. Since this is ground floor, you're going to have a patio right off of your living room. So apologize. I wish I was able to kind of show you my mouse here to kind of guide you along the floor plan here. But you do get a nice 6x6 bluestone patio off of your living room. It's a very nice open concept with an open concept kitchen, a little dining area, and then 2 bedrooms at the opposite ends of the house, which is nice, and then your 1 bathroom. There is washer dryer, stackable washer dryer space in all of our affordable units, which is nice. We include all appliances except for the refrigerator and washer dryer. Those are the only 2, the only appliances we don't include, which is consistent with our market rate units as well. The nice thing about the first floor Thornwood units is that they do have private side access. So you'll kind of enter your home on the side of the house, which is nice. There is a little, not a porch, but kind of a porch, landing area that's covered for your front door, which is nice. And then you are going to have driveway space for 2 cars for the Thornwood unit. The Scarsdale, that's going to be a little bit bigger. Those are our second floor units at 1,333 square feet. That's a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. For these units, instead of having a patio, it's not on the ground floor, so you'll have a balcony, which is again is about a 6x6 balcony. The Scarsdale is going to have 1 car garage space and 1 driveway spot for 1 car. So again, both units are going to have, parking for 2 cars, both types of units. Washer dryer space, and then you'll have access through the garage as well as a little front door area as well. For our finishes, we're offering really beautiful finishes in these units. You're going to get granite countertops in the kitchen and the bathrooms, beautiful 12 by 12 ceramic tile in the bathrooms. The flooring is going to be the picture is actually showing a dark hardwood, but it's actually a lighter hardwood. But it's going to be a 5-inch plank engineered wood. Throughout the home, minus the bedrooms and the living room is going to be carpet. And then, of course, the steps up are also going to be carpeted. But then also beautiful, MDF cabinets as well. So, these are really the finishes that we are putting in our market rate units as well. So, really gorgeous finishes from our design studio. As far as appliances, they're going to be Whirlpool stainless steel. Again, we just don't include the refrigerator, the washer dryer, so the homeowner would provide that on their own. But really good quality appliances here. And then these are just showing our plumbing faucets and fixtures. So everything here is going to be Kohler, nice polished chrome faucets for the kitchen and your bathrooms. And then your stainless steel sink, and then your undermount vanity sink as well.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
And just to put some of those finishes in context, I believe the market rate, the least expensive market rate that I saw was somewhere around 1.5, 1.6 million.
Yeah, so yeah, correct. So our homes that we have now, I believe the starting price is anywhere from what 1.6 to 1.9 million. So
very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful community, beautiful finishes across the board for the market rate and the affordables. It's really nice.
Thank you, Courtney.
You're welcome.
So let's get into kind of the nitty gritty of this, and I want to start kind of big picture, because just the concept of affordable housing is a complicated one, and it's often one that is misinterpreted. So let's kind of ground ourselves in that first. All housing is affordable to someone, but not all housing is affordable to everyone. And there's a reason for that, because there are lots of things that influence affordability. The condition of the home, the taxes, insurance, maintenance, school districts, go down the list. There are lots of things that make one home more expensive than the next. And as a result, especially in an environment like this, where we are right outside the biggest city in the world, with a whole lot of people who want to be close to the train so they can go into the city, it can be difficult to make sure that you have good, adequate housing available to people who are not at the upper end of the economic spectrum. And so there's lots of interventions that the government makes. And if you think about the kind of broader spectrum, at the top you have the most regulated things, most regulated housing, and then by the time you get to the bottom, you have the least regulated housing. So up at the top, public housing, where the government actually owns a building and rents it out. Then you have project-based and tenant-based subsidized, where the people who live in a building have their rent subsidized. Those first three typically are for folks who live in very low income households. Then you've got sort of classic regulated affordable for low and moderate income households. Imagine just an affordable building, 100% affordable, and it's income restricted, it's rent capped. Typically, those get built with a lot of grant dollars. We partner, Housing Action Council partners with a lot of developers to build buildings like that, where you'll get forgivable loans from the state that then stay on the property, and it'll stay affordable for as long as you can keep it affordable. Then you've got this sort of middle category, and this is what we're talking about tonight: inclusionary, sometimes referred to as workforce housing, typically for working households. And the thing that makes it possible is the local zoning, which requires deed restrictions that keep it affordable for a long time. Then, still moving into that least regulated territory, then you've got rent regulation, right? Rent control, rent freezes, like we're talking about in New York City, right? Which typically benefits existing tenants. Then you've got sort of, oftentimes we talk about market rate housing as though it's all luxury. That is not correct. There is most of the affordable housing in Westchester County is actually market housing that is naturally occurring affordable. Oftentimes because it is less amenitized, it's less expensive, it's older, and so it just doesn't command the same price tag as other market rate units. So what we're talking about here is inclusionary zoning, and that comes with some characteristics. And these are things you should know about if you're thinking about purchasing one of these. First of all, it's usually the product of a minimum set aside in the zoning, where some units are affordable, the remaining units are market rate. There are affordability requirements that are usually set at some level of the AMI. We say AMI all the time. It means area median income. It's sort of the average income. They figure out what is the average income in Westchester County, and then they say, what's 80% of that? We're going to have this be affordable at that level. What's 60% of that? We're going to make it so that this is affordable to people who make that level of income. Then there is eligibility, tenant selection requirements. So it's not just selling the unit at an affordable price. The only people who are eligible to buy it or rent are people within that income band. So that way you don't have folks who actually can afford something, much more expensive coming in and buying it. There are requirements around marketing and outreach. Right now, there are lots of advertisements all throughout this area and beyond. Because technically, and there's a lot of affordable units coming online throughout Westchester, but anybody can apply for those. We have folks who have parents in California who apply for affordable housing in New York so that they can move back and be close to their kids. And then finally, there's a compliance period. In this case, all of these units, even in resale, will have to be resold at this same AMI level. The AMI level gets adjusted every year. Truthfully, it always goes up. Sometimes it goes up quite a bit. But there's a price that is figured in for the price of the townhome that will go up with inflation. And then, say 10 years from now, you've bought it, you're ready to resell it. You have to sell it to somebody who makes at or below 80% AMI.
May I ask just
Sure.
about that particular thing?
Yeah.
The council regulates resale?
Westchester County does, actually. Yeah, so when you get ready to, and the question was, does the Housing Action Council regulate the resale? We often support people in that resale process, but Westchester County sort of has the final say. And so in this case, you've got 27 homes, as Courtney mentioned. 6 of these homes are set aside for households earning no more than 80%. And that's adjusted for household size. So there's a lot of numbers here up on the screen. This is what that means. So if you are a 2-person household, you need to make $108,800 or less in order to be eligible. If you're a 3-person household, you have to make $122,400 or less.
So if you live by yourself and you're a widow, you're disqualified?
The minimum household size for 2-bedroom homes, per the regulations, this is not the developer, this is not Housing Action Council, the minimum household size is 2 people. And then the minimum household size for the 3 bedrooms is 3 people. And I believe you can have a household of 2 to 5 people, but this is all in the application, so you'll see it. For the 2 bedrooms, you can have 2 to 5 people, and then for the 3 bedrooms, you can have 3 to 7. That might be 2 to 4, so forgive me if I'm.
Can I ask why? personally why one person is disqualified? I mean,
Yeah.
Them to die. I just find that so unfair.
Yeah, those are regulations that first originate by HUD and then come through Westchester County and flow down.
Is that usually for all affordable housing?
That's right. That's right.
Just as an add-on to that, what's the requirement for identifying a household?
Great question. I'll get to that in just a moment. It might be. Hey, look at that.
Got it, good.
So, who is in my household? You, your spouse or domestic partner, if they're living with you, children who will live in the home most or all of the time, any other adults who will live in the home full time. So it's who you live with, right? It's not people who, I think my 26-year-old, maybe they'll come back. It's not that, right? Your household is who's going to be living with you. And then when it comes to figuring up your income, you have to add up all sources of income for everyone in the household. That is wages, salaries, government benefits, child support, alimony, pensions, investments, and any other sources. Okay? So this part, just so you know, this part of the process, this is where you're probably going to need help. When your name comes up, it's our job to actually go through all of that documentation. So you'll turn over bank statements, tax, your last 2 tax returns. It's a whole bunch of information. And then even after we've qualified you, then the county is going to check our work to make sure that everything is on the up and up. And it's all formula. Sometimes folks will say, well, do you have to count that? Yes. The reality is all of this is highly regulated by HUD. There's no guesswork by the end of it. Your income will be determined following that process, and that's what it is. In this case, now typically with home ownership opportunities, and certainly with home ownership opportunities that are funded by the state or the federal government, there's usually an asset test as well. There is no asset test for this particular project. Westchester County is not requiring that. So theoretically, you could have a low income, but you could have an asset that you sell, and then you move into this. Did that answer the question okay? Let me give you a tip, by the way. If you are, say, a 3-person household, where you could theoretically either have a 2-bedroom unit or a 3-bedroom unit, check the box beside both if you're willing to buy either. What often happens is, we may go into this and we start going down the list, and all the 3 bedrooms get sold. And now there's only 2 bedrooms left. Now we're looking for applications from people who said they wanted to buy the 2-bedroom. If you've already submitted your application, withdraw it, change it, resubmit it. But this is one of those things that you just want to make sure you kind of don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Check both boxes. Check the boxes of anything you're willing to.
Are you sure that's in the application? I don't remember that.
It should be in the application.
Yeah.
Now, the one kicker here, qualification is not loan approval. You still have to be approved for a mortgage for whatever amount you're going to need a mortgage for, right? Maybe you have a good amount of savings, so that mortgage is going to be small. Maybe you're going to put down 5%, 10%, something like that. So the mortgage will be a little bit bigger. But you're going to have to get approved for a mortgage. All applicants will have to put in an application through Toll Brothers Mortgage Company. So there's 2 pieces of this when you're thinking about it. First, all purchasers are required to complete HUD-approved pre-purchase home buyer counseling. It's called first-time home buyer counseling, even if you're not a first-time home buyer. It is what it is. It's a requirement by the county to make sure that everybody who purchases an affordable home has a moment to speak with an objective person about the mortgage obligation, the HOA fees, budgets, the affordability and resale restrictions, and then long-term ownership costs and risks, right? Home ownership is not for everyone. Not everybody is in a place in their lives where they're ready for home ownership. And so you're going to have to go through that counseling. There are a number of different agencies all throughout Westchester who do this counseling. Just so you know, it's not a heavy lift. It is typically you meet for an orientation session, usually over Zoom for an hour. Then you go through an online module. It's about 8 hours. That's on demand. And then at the end of that, you sit back down with the housing counselor to talk through what your goals are and this project if you're applying. Yeah.
Are you required to get a mortgage through Toll Brothers?
You are not. There is a nuance here. So, just to say, obviously, Toll Brothers Mortgage Company is affiliated with the developer, with the sponsor. All applicants are required to be approved, and they use standard underwriting processes, but they have to approve everything. Then, if you're approved, you can get a mortgage from them, or you can shop around for somebody else. But the reason this is part of it is to make sure that people don't go out and go to a predatory lender who comes in out of nowhere and says, hey, I can give you a better interest rate on this. And then 7 years later, the interest rate spikes, right? So you will have to fill out that application if you're qualified to get approved. But then once you are, you can go and shop around for the other.
You're not required to get a mortgage if you don't want to, right?
That's true. That's right. Yeah. The other possibility is certifying a true cash purchase. So if you can pay in cash, you can do that too. And then, yes, let me give you a couple of rules of thumb. Okay. Sometimes these are things that are actually required in an application. In this case, they're not required, but they are good rules of thumb. Your housing costs should not exceed 33% of your gross household income. If they do, you're getting yourself into a difficult spot. Too much of your money. The whole idea of affordable housing is to make sure that people are paired up with housing that doesn't exceed that much of their monthly income. Additionally, your household costs plus all of your other debts should not exceed 45% of your gross household. Generally, lenders are going to look at those two numbers when they're discussing whether or not to. Okay, so those are rules of thumb to just keep in mind when you go through it. So this is a theoretical breakdown. This is kind of how you end up with the price you end up. There's a full spreadsheet that developers go through with the county in order to break down how much they can sell it for and still be in compliance with the rules of the inclusionary zoning. And this is kind of what that looks like. So if you think about it as you're buying a $221,000 home, you're going to put down 5%, $210,000 is now your mortgage. Your estimated principal and interest is going to be about $1,402. As Courtney mentioned, there's an HOA fee of $430. You sort of put all of those together plus the private mortgage insurance, and your estimated total monthly housing payment is about $2,619. So if you're thinking about that 33% number, you really need to have more than $95,200 for this 2-bedroom, right? So think of it more as an affordability window rather than, hey, if I'm below, I'm in, right? There's a window there that you want to fall in. And this is the same kind of thing for the 3-bedroom town, where your minimum income is a little bit more expensive. You want to be above 107. Now, maybe you put down more money on the down payment, and so that brings your loan down. Maybe you get better than a 7% interest rate on your mortgage, right? This is all hypothetical. Everything will change when you're actually in the room, but this is kind of how you want to be thinking about that. As I mentioned before, there is a compliance period, so owners will only be able to resell to income qualified buyers. Homes must remain owner occupied as your primary residence. There's no renting out the homes. The resale price is limited to inflation based increases, which the county will then keep track of. So when the time comes, you talk to the county and they give you a number. If you make investments in the home, you have the ability to recoup some of that money. So it's as long as you're selling to the 80% AMI or lower. So just to break this down in just a couple of steps. This application is on the HomeSeeker platform hosted by Westchester County. Now, this is a new platform. I recommend, whether you're interested in this project or not, go to HomeSeeker and just register for the platform, because there are other opportunities. There's rental opportunities, there's for sale opportunities. I try to tell people it's a little bit of a numbers game with affordable housing. It just is. So if you're looking for affordable opportunities, go there, register on the platform, think through your eligibility. Where do you fall in terms of the AMI for Westchester County? That will get updated in May. So it'll probably go up. So if you're right on the cusp, maybe you're a little above 80%, go ahead and apply. Come May, you might be below the 80% threshold. It happens every year. Apply for the various opportunities that you're interested in. You can participate in homeownership counseling anytime. It's never too early to get started. If your name comes up, so just so you know, back office, we're going to get these names. They're now in a new order. We're likely going to reach out to the first 25 to 50 people to see if there's interest and start gathering documents. Don't feel horrible if you're number 100. You're actually in a pretty good spot. Because the truth is, oftentimes it's 1 out of every 10 that sort of falls within that window as we get through. And sometimes people say, you know what, I applied for that, and I'm kind of doing this other thing, I changed jobs, it's okay. Move on to the next person. So you will get a sense, after the lottery is conducted, HomeSeeker sends out a notification to everybody. Make sure you typed your email address correctly, because that is where the notification will go. And I encourage you to respond quickly, because if we don't hear back, we're going to have to move on. Then you'll go through the whole financing process, and then finally on the other side, you'll close on the property and move in. So that was a lot of information in a relatively short amount of time. Happy to answer questions. Courtney is still here. I also want to give a shout out. Silvana Carrion is our compliance specialist, Housing Action Council. She's also on. You can't see her, but she is also. Any questions?
There she is.
A couple of questions on Zoom.
Oh, yes. We've got Q&A on Zoom. Do you need to put all the information like pay stubs, etc., on the housing page before the lottery? No, you do not. All of that, you'll need to estimate your income as part of the application process, but you do not need to put all of that information in the initial application. So we'll reach out to you if your name comes up, and then. Do any of these affordable places prioritize certain people? In this particular case, no. But there are some affordable opportunities out there. There's a couple of large buildings in White Plains that have preferences, where they have, it's 108 units all in between the two buildings. And so they have preferences for county employees, White Plains employees, IDA impacted folks. So it is possible, but in this case, that is not the case. I'm sorry, I'm just now seeing that I was going in and out with audio, so I'm sorry to everybody on Zoom for that. How many people are they anticipating entering the lottery? Typically, it's a couple hundred people. And this is going to be an attractive project. It's beautiful. And Irvington's an amazing community. So I anticipate north of 500. But in the end, we will see. Does the 3-bed have a front door? The only entrance is through the garage. Courtney, you want to take that one?
It does have a front door, so you have the garage, interior garage door access, and then a front door as well. So both of those doors are going to bring you right to the landing at the bottom of the steps to go up to that second floor, the 3-bedroom unit.
Great. If you have a co-op currently, does it need to be sold before you can close? Yes. You are not allowed. An affordable unit has to be your primary residence. And then I didn't add child support to my income. Do I need to go back and add it to my salary? Generally, yes, you could withdraw your application, adjust it, and put it in. Either way it goes, if your name comes up, you'll then have to document, and at which point you can adjust it.
So the lottery is purely random, and you will be called. They will not look at your application until you're in there?
That is correct. Okay. That's right. Yeah. And I think if you go back many years, yeah. So the question is, are people going to look at your application or try to sort of qualify you before the lottery? Not at all. Everything happens after the lottery. It would just, otherwise we'd have to qualify 500 applications and then figure it out. And instead we just do it post-lottery. Can you have a co-signer if need be? I don't believe so. Courtney, do you know that for sure? Typically with affordable housing, the all of the people on the mortgage have to be living in the affordable unit.
Yeah, I would have to find out from our mortgage company. So I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't have that answer.
Silvana, do you know by any chance?
Yeah, so hi everyone. Typically, co-signers are not allowed for affordable housing. The only co-signer that you may have is, for example, is a gentleman does an application, he puts his spouse on the as a co-signer, but spouse also needs to be on the application in order for them to be a co-signer. But typically, no, we cannot have a co-signer that will not be moving into the unit.
Thank you, Silvana. And then there's a question, are property taxes accounted for in the $2,600 number? Yes, they are. Real estate taxes, I think, were estimated here at $587. Those would be a known entity before you signed the contract. How is the property assessed for taxes? Do you have a window into that, Courtney?
I don't. I just know what the tax assessor had let me know that the tax rate was, but I don't have any insight into that.
Yeah, typically, I'll just share. Typically, Westchester County will deliver to each municipal tax assessor the affordable units each year and what they're priced at, and then they get the same sort of treatment as anything else. It just so happens that their assessed value is lower, right? So that's generally where that number comes from.
Yeah.
I joined the Zoom late. How can I get access to the presentation? This was recorded, yeah?
Yeah, if you go to the Village of Irvington YouTube site.
Village of Irvington's YouTube site is where you want to go. Village of Irvington is an influencer. Very popular on YouTube.
Yes, subscribe. And
so you'll be able to see all of this. Yes, property taxes are included. Are there plans in place to build or have more availability for more affordable homes in Irvington?
We hope so. We certainly hope so.
That's above my pay grade, but it sounds like we certainly hope so. Yes.
To be honest, it would still be years away.
Yes, that's right. That's a fair point. It would likely still be years away. Nothing that's about to
There's
come on the
nothing in the-
market. And then the affordable units are ready in February, but the market rate homes aren't ready for move-in around December 2026. Why? And would a December 2026 move-in be possible by lottery? Let me take the last half of that, and then Courtney, I'll turn it over to you for the first half. Generally speaking, it's very unlikely that these will not be sold until December 2026. My guess is you're gonna have to close on a mortgage. All of the documents that you put forward, they can go stale. So once you kind of go into the pipeline of trying to purchase one of these things, within a couple of months, it's sold. My guess is December 2026 would be too far away. In terms of the construction timeline, do you want to speak to that, Courtney?
Yeah, so the we've been selling since April 2025 and kind of building as we sell. So that end of year, end of 2026 timeframe, that would be for like our last market rate unit to close. And likely it'll be before December 2026. But yeah, we already have a number of homeowners that have already closed on the units. So there's homeowners living there currently. So we just kind of close as we finish, we kind of go down the line building depending on where we sell. So our last 4 units are what we call for the market rates, quick move-in homes. So we're kind of speccing everything and, buyers are coming in if they want something a little bit of a quicker move-in time rather than having to wait a full 9-month, 7 to 9 month build period. So, December 2026 would be for our like very last home to wrap that up and close it. But we have plenty of people living there currently.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah, question.
So you were saying it has to be your primary residence, of course.
That's right.
But if your name gets pulled in the lottery, where you currently live, you're not going to try to sell till you know if your name is pulled. So what if you haven't sold your current condo or co-op or home before?
You cannot close on the home if you own another home.
So you have to try to sell very quickly once your name is. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that's
Yes.
how I know it.
2 questions. Are there any pet restrictions as far as dogs or sizes or?
Good question. Pet restrictions?
Nope. So there's no pet restrictions in terms of number of pets or type of pet. Just the typical rules that would exist in HOA. They just have to be well behaved and leashed and everything. But yeah, there's no pet restrictions here in this community.
And the second question, what if you have more than 2 cars?
And what if you have
Is there
more than
parking
2
for a third
cars?
car?
That would be tough. There's really no room for more than 2 cars. So I don't know what would happen in that case. I think you would just have to have 2 cars. Because there's really no room for more than 2.
Park it across the street.
So there's no guest park.
There's limited guest parking throughout the community. So I forget how many, maybe like 10 or so like guest parking spots kind of throughout the community scattered around. But yeah, the HOA wouldn't allow for any like car to be parked there permanently, if that makes sense.
Will first responder, hi Paul, will first responders have any preference for these units since they serve Irvington, or does that not matter here with this process? No, there are no preferences for this. If your number is called, are we allowed to see the unit before making a definitive decision? That is a great question. So prior to signing the contract, you should be able to sit with the sales team, walk through the unit, and check it all out. Definitely. And the utilities for the units are all electric heat and hot water. Courtney, can you speak to that?
We actually have gas utilities here, so your gas range, for example, is what would be included in your unit. So we have gas at this community.
Can a single person qualify for a 2 or 3 bedroom unit? Unfortunately, no. Those are regulations which supersede Irvington, the developer, Housing Action Council. The minimum household size for the 2 bedroom is 2 people. The minimum household size for the 3 bedroom is 3 people.
Chance, there are one-bedroom affordable units elsewhere in Westchester, are there not?
Oh yes, definitely. There are plenty of 1 bedroom affordable units available throughout Westchester, and those buildings that I mentioned in White Plains actually have even studios for purchase, for ownership. So there are definitely opportunities out there, just not in this case. Does the HOA fees include watering the grounds? Can you
It does. Yep. That's kind of part of the landscaping is irrigation for, the units and the common areas.
How much time does someone have to get their mortgage approved once selected by the lottery before they move on to the next person? Silvana, how does that typically work? The first outreach, what is the time period for responding?
So the first outreach to determine eligibility is a 5-day period. Within the 5 days, a day before the due date, we'll reach out and say, hey, just a quick reminder, documents are due tomorrow. And then after we receive the documents from all applicants that have been reached out to, we'll go by lottery one by one and determine eligibility. And then from there, whatever documents are missing, we would do another outreach and give the applicants another 2 days to submit the final documents. At that point, we should have all the documents up to date and getting ready to send them for the home ownership or even a unit viewing. So the process is fairly quick.
And the thing that I would say there is, as long as you're responsive, the worst thing to do is just ghost us. That's the tough thing, right? If you're responsive, we are people. We want the same thing that you want. So just make sure that you're, responding to the emails as they come. If you're out of town and you see the email come in and you say, listen, I just need 2 more days because I can't track that down, we're going to work with you. We are
Correct.
looking for ways to get to yes. We are not looking for ways to get to no. And then getting your mortgage approved. So typically the way this would work, in some ways, this will be more efficient than the usual because we know that that the first step in getting mortgage approval is actually submitting the application to the Toll Brothers Mortgage Company. But generally speaking, you get a pre-approval, you'd sign the contract, and then you'd go out and you'd work out the details with different lenders. In this case, when you get your pre-approval, you may feel pretty good about the offer that Toll Brothers Mortgage Company gives you, and so that might not be quite as lengthy of a process.
Question related to that.
Yeah.
Are the Toll Brothers mortgage rates publicly available for comparison?
Courtney?
Yeah, they should be. Yep.
That was a great question. Does each affordable unit have their own water meter? Courtney?
It does. They do. Yes.
Would a husband and wife with a child qualify for a 3-bedroom, or would you need to have 2 children to justify the 3-bedroom? No, that would be a household of 3, so you would qualify for the 3-bedroom. Any other questions from the room?
The
Yeah.
second floor, 3-bedroom, does that have a usable attic for storage?
Does the second floor 3-bedroom have a usable attic for storage, or is there any other storage area?
There's no attic in these, but there is a decent amount of closet space. I mean the primary bedroom, it's a really large primary bedroom with kind of a walk-in closet space. Trying to think. I mean, you have Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's a good amount of closet space, but no attic space, unfortunately.
The garage, the single garage, does it have enough space for like bicycles and like?
Yeah, how big is the garage?
It's pretty tight. I mean, it's gonna pretty much just fit one car in there. There's not a whole lot of room for a lot of other, I think you could probably fit, bikes if you had like a bike rack on the wall, but I mean, it is a pretty tight fit for one car.
Is it big enough for like a large SUV or is it just like a tiny little?
Is it big enough for a large SUV?
You should be okay to fit an SUV in it.
Okay.
If you're a good driver.
Yes, you have to be a
Your
good
mirrors
driver.
fold.
Right. You just
Don't take the
put the mirrors in. So I see no more questions online. Did you want to say anything else? Were you?
No, I'm sure you'll share your contact.
Yes, absolutely. You can reach out anytime to me, chancem@affordablehomes.org. The easier one is hac@affordablehomes.org. If you have any questions along the way, we are happy to help you. And thank you for having me.
Thank
It was
you.
great to be here with all of you. Right. Thank you.
Very fun.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Silvana.
Bye.
Hang bicycles from the ceiling.
Informative.
That's what-